The embattled EPA Secretary Scott Pruitt is under fire for multiple allegations of wrongdoing. You know that. But now he is speaking out, trying to defend himself on many counts, including two aides getting $80,000 worth of pay raises. This is a great exchange. Listen to it.
I did not know that they got the pay raises until yesterday.
Okay, one of them got a pay raise of, let's see, $28,000. The other was $56,000. Do you know what the median income in this country is?
No, what
$57,000 a year.
Okay.
So one of your friends from Oklahoma got a pay raise that's the medium income.
They did not get a pay raise. They did not get a pay raise.
They did.
No, they did not. They did not. I stopped that yesterday.
So you stopped it.
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed that
it should
you
not
run
have
this
happened?
agency?
It should not have happened. And the officials that were involved in that process should not have done what they did.
Out front now, Rob Astorino, a friend of the president's and former Republican gubernatorial candidate here in New York, and Joan Walsh, national affairs correspondent for The Nation and political commentator for us here at CNN. All right, Rob, look.
I knew you were going to start with me.
Okay, so let's, it's not even about the raises. Well, it is, but there's a whole lot of other things, right? There's the $50 a night that he was paying for the prime real estate from an energy lobbyist, when he's head of the EPA. There's the dozens of first-class flights. Should he still have a job as head of the EPA?
Yes, with an asterisk, and here's why.
What's the asterisk?
Well, the asterisk is it's up to the president, and if he broke a law, then he's gone. Right now, apparently, he washed it through the general counsel, and I think 3 different layers, and they said, yes, it was permitted. There's a difference between not being permitted or illegal and things that are okay technically but don't look good. And that's maybe where he is right now. Yeah, but that's where he is right now.
So let's play this part about this room. And I want to emphasize this is, a prime real estate apartment right by Capitol Hill, $50 a night. Right. And you're pointing out that others approved it. But so he's trying to act like this is totally fine. Let me just play how he answered Ed Henry's question on that.
Right. President Trump said he would drain the swamp. Is draining the swamp renting an apartment from the wife of a Washington lobbyist?
I don't think that that's even remotely fair to ask that question.
I'll go on the record here. Ed Henry asked a very good question.
Excellent
question. The best answer is not remotely fair to ask that question?
No, it's
the wife of a lobbyist of the EPA when you're running the EPA?
Fair. It's $50. You can't get a closet on Airbnb for $50 in Washington, D.C. I've tried. I mean, it's ridiculous. And she's the wife of a lobbyist. This lobbying firm also successfully lobbied for the EPA to change some regulations lighten regulations on one of their companies. So it looks dirty. It's an absolutely appropriate question.Maybe it's not dirty. Maybe it can be explained away. But he's doing this thing, and he's done it before. Where he acts like he's above questioning.
Right. I mean,
he's not. He's a cabinet secretary.
The response in and of itself. What does that response mean in terms of whether he should be where he is? I don't think that's even remotely fair to ask that question. If that's what he truly thinks, who the heck does he think he is?
Right.
No, that was an appropriate question to ask. He should have answered it, and should have answered it dead on and put this thing to rest. Those kind of responses just beget new questions, and it makes it look like you're hiding something. And if he isn't, and he got all clearance, then go straight forward and say, what I did was perfectly fine. You may not like the way it looks, but it's perfectly fine. It brings up another issue. It's very hard. Congress members don't get any housing allowance. Members of hierarchy of the government, they don't get housing allowance. They don't get personal travel back home. It makes it difficult for people of, I'll say, normal means, not the Mnuchins of the world or Wilbur Rosses.
Right.
When you're carrying 2 homes in different places, a family, it makes it very difficult. I think they should consider.
You're saying it makes it easy to become ethically compromised.
No,
you're not defending it. You're not saying it's okay.
Defending
you're just explaining it, perhaps.
And I'm saying, no, I'm not saying it was unethical. I'm saying it makes it very difficult, and they're going to look for ways where they could, within the law, find the easiest opportunity.
So you don't think it's the least bit unethical? You don't think that he should look at it and say, I should never be taking a sweetheart deal from the wife of a lobbyist?
Well, first of all, they said it's
that?
not a sweetheart deal, because what they did is 30 days times 50 is $1,500. That's what that would have rented for on a monthly basis. So that's what the council said.
By the way, the average rent in that area, as I've seen reported, is $6,000 a month. So let's just be clear.
Right, and that's not the way you figure it out.
$1,500 sounds like a lot to a lot of people, and it is. But when you're talking about was he getting a deal that was unethical, he was not paying.
And also, you come and you go.
Was he paying a real rate?
And also, apparently, again, I have no idea, but from what we've seen, apparently that company that does the lobbying had nothing before in the last 2 years since he's been there.
I think that's wrong. I think he just, at least the agency, just relaxed regulations in March of 2017. That's part of what this whole beef is about
Well, I think part of it is
for a Canadian company.
From what I have read, they had nothing before them while he's been there since in 17
I think
and
the
18.
Washington Post
Here's my
reported the
question, though,
opposite.
to you, Rob, before we go. What Pruitt has done is what Trump wants him to do.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the ethical issues. I'm talking about as head
policies.
of the EPA, okay?
Yep.
He's rolled back fuel efficiency rules for cars. He's removed any mentions of the word climate change from the EPA pages. He has gotten rid of 700 people. He's rolling back environmental... but I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying he's doing what the president wanted him to do. So is what the president telling the country, that's more important than having someone who's ethical or honest?
No, but if he is being ethical, in other words, if it is in the parameters of what he's permitted, and just because people are carping
then that's
on
a big problem with what's permitted. Can we all admit that?
Well, but that's a whole separate issue. Though. If he's allowed to do what he did, then we move on. But
and the first-class flights,
moving,
and it doesn't show
And
an entitlement to you.
The $43,000 soundproofed phone booth in his office. He's not a spy chief or this defense secretary.
We talked about Get Smart last time. We love Get
did.
Smart.
We're on a theme. We've got a theme going.